This week, the college football season starts with Week 0, headlined by number 10 Florida State, taking on Georgia Tech in Ireland. Week 0 is strange because it's basically Week 1 of the college football season, but referred to as Week 0 due to NCAA rules that restrict teams from playing before Labor Day, aside from some exceptions. This is the history of Week 0, and why it's a thing, and why it may continue to grow. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know which game you are most excited to watch this weekend in the comments section below. The first ever Week 0 game would occur in 1983 between Nebraska and Penn State, but the idea of playing a Week 0 game did not pick up steam until 2002. During the 2002 season, there was a Jim Thorpe Classic between Colorado and Virginia, the John Thompson Foundation Classic between Wisconsin and Fresno State, the Eddie Robinson Classic between Florida State and Iowa State, the BCA Classic between NC State and New Mexico, and the Pigskin Classic between Ohio State and Texas Tech. In 2003, there would be only 2 games played, with Kansas State taking on California in the BCA Classic and San Jose State taking on Grambling State in the Literacy Classic. 2004 would once again have 2 games, with Miami of Ohio taking on Indiana State and number 1 USC taking on Virginia Tech in the BCA Classic. There would not be another Week 0 matchup until 2016, 12 years later. You see, Week 0 did not follow the NCAA rules. According to NCAA rules bylaw 17.11.4, college football can start no earlier than Labor Day weekend, but an excess runoff of games has crept into August in recent years for usual reasons. 2016 saw a rule change by the bylaw 17.11.4, creating an exception allowing Hawaii and teams that play in Hawaii, including their opponents, the option to play 1 week earlier on the Saturday before Labor Day weekend. A second exception, bylaw 17.11.4.2, also provides FCS schools with another opportunity to play in Week 0. For FCS schools to qualify, they must play a nationally televised contest, broadcast or cable, not internet only, against a non-conference opponent. The Hawaii exception was created to help offset the cost of traveling to and from the state of Hawaii for the University of Hawaii and their opponents who played on the island. Hawaii is also allowed to schedule a 13th regular season game to help their school earn an extra guaranteed payment, ticket revenue, etc. FBS teams can play a maximum of 12 regular season games each year, per bylaw 17.11.6.1. However, bylaw 17.11.6.2 permits any football game played in Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico to not count against the maximum number of contests. Last season, only Hawaii, New Mexico State, and New Albany took advantage of this exception. The games would return in 2016, with California taking on Hawaii in the Sydney Cup, a game played in Sydney, Australia. 2017 would see 4 games played, but ironically, Hawaii did not play in any of them. We saw BYU take on Portland State, Colorado State versus Oregon State, South Florida versus San Jose State, and Stanford take on Rice in the second ever Sydney Cup. 2018 would see another 4 games, with Hawaii taking on Colorado State, UMass taking on Duquesne, Rice taking on Prairie View A&M, and Wyoming taking on New Mexico State. 2019 would be where things would change though, as everybody was seeing dollar signs. College football is the longest offseason of any sports in the US, meaning people are just foaming at the mouth and craving to watch a game. And people do watch these games. In 2019, to celebrate college football's 150th season, Florida took on Miami and Orlando in a Week 0 matchup, and TV networks watched as over 6 million people tuned in. I still remember watching this game on my couch in my college apartment. Networks figured out that giving a nationally televised game on a weekend with nothing else going on would lead to ratings gold. There would be no Week 0 games during 2020 due to the world events, but 2021 would see a total of 5 games, including Illinois versus Nebraska, among others. 2022 doubled that number, with 11 games being played, headlined by Northwestern versus Nebraska and Ireland. It also saw the rules updated again, with NCAA bylaw 17.11.4.3 giving a foreign travel exception. 2023 saw 7 FBS games played, headlined by Notre Dame versus Navy and Ireland. The NCAA also guaranteed waivers for 2 Conference USA games, UTEP at Jacksonville State and FIU at Louisiana Tech, to be played during Week 0 because of the scheduling conflicts brought on by conference realignment. Per a Conference USA spokesperson, with non-conference games already in place at our new schools, it affected the ability to create a balanced schedule that did not require teams to be on the road multiple times in a row. This year we will see 4 FBS games with Florida State playing Georgia Tech and Ireland, Montana State playing New Mexico, SMU playing Nevada, a game I might go to, and Delaware State versus Hawaii. And 3 FCS games with McNeese playing Tarleton State, North Alabama playing SC Missouri, and Florida A&M playing Norfolk State in the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff. One of the biggest byproducts of Week 0 is the ability for college football teams to travel across the pond and play games like the Aer Lingus College Football Classic in Ireland, which made a ton of money last year, especially in tourism dollars. An estimated 39,000 of the 40,000 seats in Dublin Stadium were purchased by Americans, meaning the city brought in a ton of local revenue to the city via hotels and restaurants. In 2022, Nebraska played Northwestern in Dublin, and this year the matchup will feature number 10 Florida State take on Georgia Tech. The Aer Lingus College Football Classic in 2023, featuring Notre Dame and Navy, is calculated to have generated a significant amount of money and 180 million euros boost for the Irish economy. In 2025, the game will be played between Kansas State and Iowa State, so it seems like the game is here to stay. Minister of Tourism Catherine Martin spoke on it, saying, "The Aer Lingus College Football Classic is a prime example of how strategic events align with the government policies and Ireland's vision for destination development. With an economic impact of £180 million for last year's exceptional event, initiatives of this scale not only bolster local economies, but also spread business opportunities throughout the country. The event marked one of the highest revenue-generating sports events ever held in Ireland and witnessed the largest ever single movement of U.S. citizens outside the U.S. for an individual sporting event. College Game Day has also traveled to Ireland, giving the city even more exposure leading into the game. With the scheduling exception being created back in 2022, allowing teams to play during Week 0 if they play on foreign soil, we may see even more teams start to play games in other countries. The Sydney Cup disappeared out of nowhere after seeing 66,000 fans in attendance in 2016 and 33,000 fans in 2017. A Destination NSW spokesperson told ESPN back in 2018, New South Wales was first to bring college football to Australia, and the first 2 Sydney Cup matches were hugely successful. There's a strong appetite for the skill and spectacle of U.S. sports in NSW, with the 2014 Major League Baseball season opener, 2016 and 2017 College Football Sydney Cups, and 2016 Ice Hockey Classic bringing more than 66,000 overnight visitors to Sydney, injecting over $50.7 million into the local visitor economy. Destination NSW continues to engage with sports teams, leagues, and promoters around the world to secure the biggest and best sports events for Sydney and regional NSW, including exploring future opportunities for college football Sydney Cups. Playing games in foreign cities give players and staff an amazing experience of traveling the world and exploring new places. Exposes the school to not just the fans at the game, but puts them on a national stage, as these games are always on broadcast TV, and gives an injection of money into the city's economies. Coaches and players also love it because it gives them a second bye week if they choose not to schedule a 13th game. With super conferences and conference realignment, it may help teams stay healthier and larger, more brutal conference schedules, and a longer college football playoff extending the season. And television networks may push for more of these games too, as it could be more major games to show on the networks before Labor Day. Imagine a game in Japan on Fox, a game in Ireland on NBC, a game in Sao Paulo on ABC, and a game in Italy on CBS, giving us football all day long. Whether you like it or not, Week 0 is here to stay because it makes so much money for everyone involved. What do you think? Which Week 0 matchup are you most excited for, and what city do you want to host a college football game in Week 0 down the road? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.